You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Source of President's Trumper Tantrum in the Senate revealed a conservative, based on an article by Adam Lynch. Trump's housing betrayal is not a temper tantrum. It is policy. What happened? A report about Donald Trump's threat to veto a popular housing bill offers the usual softening language of punditry, a hissy fit, a possible motive, some hand-wringing about electoral consequences. The actual facts are simpler. Trump opposed a bill that would have made housing cheaper, while pushing the Save America Act instead. He has also said, plainly, that he does not want housing prices to fall and that no one gives a s about housing. Where the power sits. The institutional power is not with anxious reporters or disappointed voters. It sits with the president, the office that can distort legislation, set priorities, and punish anyone who treats affordability as a governing goal rather than a nuisance. This is the core fact the soft framing tries to blur. Trump did not stumble into a policy disagreement. He used presidential authority to defend the interests and instincts of a real estate speculator who benefits when property gets more expensive. Who enabled the outcome? The decision maker is Trump. The enabler is the political culture around him, which keeps translating deliberate harm into personality trivia. Calling this a tantrum is a rhetorical downgrade. It suggests impulsiveness where there is a recognizable class interest to protect asset inflation, block relief, and treat cheaper housing as a threat. When a president says he wants prices up for homeowners and shrugs off housing as something nobody cares about, that is not confusion. It is a declaration of priority. The misdirection game. The commentary around this story drifts toward Trump's psychology, his mood, his age, his ego, his paranoia. That is useful only up to a point. A narcissist can still govern destructively. A liar can still make decisions that transfer pain downward. The distraction is the frame itself, making the story about whether Trump is moody enough, delusional enough, or politically sharp enough to care. That leaves the real issue untouched. The issue is that he does not need to care. He has enough power to act on preference, and enough political insulation to turn affordability into a disposable talking point. Populism as cover. Trump ran as a champion of the forgotten worker and has instead behaved like a man whose loyalty stops at his own portfolio and vanity. The report captures that contradiction, even if it keeps circling it as a psychological puzzle. There is no puzzle. Populist branding and elite material interests have always coexisted in his politics because the branding was the bait. Housing is where that con becomes visible. A real populist would want lower rents, lower mortgage pressure, and less speculative inflation. Trump wants the opposite, and he says so without much effort to hide it. The larger pattern. This is how modern political corruption operates, not always through bribes or secret deals, but through the open protection of scarcity. Make life more expensive, then sell the public a story about strength, grievance, and enemies. When the public notices, pivot to election paranoia, culture war, or personality theater. So the real story is not that Trump threw a fit. It is that he treated affordability as collateral damage in service of his own class instincts, and a lot of political commentary still wants to call that moodiness instead of power. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to AltaNet for today's article, with the automated voice of Bryce. Thanks for listening.